The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion has countless NPCs in the game. Not only are there named and unique individuals, but there are also randomly generated people. Caves, forts, ruins, cities, settlements, farms, inns, there are so many places to meet brand new NPCs. I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm still running into new characters. I've been playing this game for quite some time, and every day I'm finding new details. So, for today's video, I thought I'd tell you about 10 NPCs in Oblivion I've only just discovered. These are characters I've met for the first time while making videos for this channel. Up until then, I had no clue that they even existed. Technically, there are more than 10 people on this list, but it's broken down into 10 segments. This list only contains NPCs in vanilla Oblivion, as most of the DLCs and plugins were completely new to me anyways. Starting off with number 1, I have Shady Sam. I've always wanted to buy some items from a dark apothecary, and Shady Sam is just that guy. I remember reading that Sam is one of the only skooma vendors in the game. Then I thought to myself, who the heck even is this guy? The Breton is stationed outside of the Imperial City's walls 24/7. He's quietly tucked away in one of the wall's grooves, and without walking the perimeter, I doubt he'd be very easy to find. I think just knowing that he's a vendor, he's literally always in that spot, and he's around the city I spend the most time in was absolutely mind-blowing to me. Walking up to him for the first time felt like I was playing a completely different game. Up next is Captain Japard Montrose. During the quest scheduled for execution, the player has to sneak their way through the Imperial Undercity. I've always done my best to avoid the patrolling guards, so no way was I ever going to explore the Sanctum's nooks and crannies. Well, as it would turn out, one of the capital's lesser-known watch captains is stationed down there. I remember making a small video about him and found the attention to detail mind-boggling. Montrose is down here to learn more about the Mythic Dawn, but through his notes, you learn that he's not doing a very good job. Number 3 is Captain Bishoni Patneam. Captain Bassone? Patnime? Anyways, he's the captain of the sea tub Clarabella, and frankly, his whole crew was a first for me. In terms of Anvil's docks, it was already enough for me to step foot inside of the Serpent's Wake. Plus, there really isn't much that pulls you into the ship. There are no obvious quests, the docks have their own fair share of missions, and the doors are secured by a lock, which could just make it even more enticing. However, little did I know that Patneam and First Mate Filch were tucked away, working hard at their smuggling ring. Number 4 is Goblin Jim. It honestly took me a while to venture off into random dungeons. I always preferred to play through stories and interact with the more public NPCs. So that's why it took me so long to discover Goblin Jim. This Breton witch could be found in Goblin Jim's cave, and what's more, he's the shaman for the white-skinned goblin tribe. How James became buddy-buddy with a group of savage goblins is beyond me. How he ascended to a leadership role within the group is even more questionable. Number 5 is the Argonian tribe in Veon Cave. This is one of the entries that muddles the whole 10 NPC thing I was striving for. However, the whole dungeon was like a brand new experience for me. Veon Cave is north of Breville, and it consists of 4 zones. What's more, the cave is home to an entire tribe of hostile Argonians. There are tribesmen, a shaman, and a chieftain, somewhat similar to the hierarchy found in local goblin clans. Who are these tribesmen, and why do they want to stay hidden? Are they just feral lizard folk? Are they escaped fugitives from Blackmarsh, or something else entirely? Number 6 is the Camonna Tong thugs at Walker Camp. I remember when I first stumbled onto the pair of Dunmer. I assumed that they were basic bandits and fired off some arrows. That's when I heard the famous assault, and knew I had messed up. As it would turn out, the 2 thugs play a big part in Dolphish Grow Orum's skooma trade, and likely symbolize a partnership between Morrowind's underworld and Cyrodiil's. According to the UESP, the gold in their inventory can reach up to the thousands depending on your level, so I guess that means business is going pretty well for them. Number 7 is Sister Angrand and Sister Phoebe Gennard. I remember taking a stroll through the woods and stumbling across this strange chapel. It was in the middle of nowhere, and thinking it was going to be like Cadloot Chapel, I walked on in. The location was Gottlesfont Priory, and I was surprised to see 2 regular old friendly NPCs, Sister Angrand and Sister Phoebe Gennard. They were just hanging out and didn't mind me being there. As it would turn out, Gottlesfont Priory specializes in growing and harvesting certain alchemical ingredients, specifically Lady's Mantle. The Priory has the highest concentration of this plant in any given area across Cyrodiil, so it would seem that the 2 sisters are stationed at Gottlesfont in order to simply watch over and nourish the medicinal plants. Number 8 is Foroch. Today was the first day I had ever stepped foot inside of Gottshaw Inn. Up until this point, I had no clue it even existed. Admittedly, I never really did too much adventuring around Kvatch. I guess my attention was always on the whole cities and their discoveries. Gottshaw is actually quite the big and beautiful tavern. Because I've never been in there, I've never had the chance to meet Foroch, the publican. Foroch must live an incredibly lonely life, as his only visitors are the player, except I guess not really, and the odd Legion soldier. And he doesn't seem like that interesting of a guy, so I guess I wasn't missing much. Number 9 is Torbern, and with him comes a shout out to Andre Labouche. My first interaction with Torbern is nearly identical to my Camonna Tong encounter. I assumed he was a lone bandit, so I fired off some arrows. I then heard some concerning dialogue, and quickly realized that Torbern was just a normal guy. The Nord lives an isolated life at Aaron's camp, over in the Gerald Mountains. As it would turn out, he's the master trainer for acrobatics. If you've started your training, he tells you that Aaron, the owner of said camp, is no longer around, but he'll do his best to help you out. In fact, according to the UESP, there's unused dialogue that has Torbern saying he doesn't know where she is, nor who she is. The camp just looked cozy, so he decided to settle in. As mentioned at the beginning of this entry, I have to give a shout out to Andre Labouche. I believe I discovered his body first, and that's what led me to believe Torbern was a bad guy. I assumed the Nord was his killer. But nope, Labouche is just some poor Breton who died while mountain climbing. What's more, in his inventory is a note from his daughter, Fiona. In it, she talks about the dangers of the Gerals, like the horror of dive rock and the mountain's overall difficulty. She ultimately begs him not to go. If only Mr. Labouche had listened to his daughter. Number 10, and the final entry for this list, is Tooth in the Sea. Similar to Foroch, today was the first day I had ever come across this Argonian. He wears mage's robes and spends his day out by the Niben Bay, just behind Flooded Mine. Tooth in the Sea is the master trainer for alteration, so figures I had never met him before. Plus, he spends half the day swimming in the bay, so it's even trickier to spot him while his head's the only thing bobbing in the water. His master training test is quite interesting, as he requires the player to stick by him for 3 in-game hours. This means submerging underwater for 6 real-world minutes, which honestly, with the right items or spells, shouldn't be too tricky. So, there you have it. 10, well, more like 13 plus, NPCs in Oblivion I had never met before. I guarantee you there's more out there, and I look forward to coming across them. Thank you so much for watching. Members, I appreciate all of your support. Let me know down below if there are any NPCs you only recently discovered, and until next time, keep on adventuring.